In the sweltering heat of Buenos Aires, a group of young women enjoys a carefree time aboard a luxurious yacht. They gather on the upper deck, chatting about their upcoming weekend plans. Suddenly, their light-hearted conversation halts as an eerie sight unfolds in the sky. An aurora borealis flickers, which is a surreal occurrence in this tropical region. Nearby, Juan and his friends unwind indoors, playing cards around a table. Their game is disrupted by a knock at the window. Vicente enters delivering a bottle of whiskey to spice up the evening. Out of nowhere, the power cuts out, not just in the house, but everywhere. Simultaneously, Spain suffers a blackout, hinting at something global. Ana, the host, looks out and gasps. Vicente collapses in the street, lifeless, as snow begins to fall. Snow in Buenos Aires in summer. It's clear that this snowfall isn't normal. Ana urges everyone to seal the house, preventing the strange snow from creeping in. But Russo, worried about his family, disobeys. Covered in layers, he exits and immediately drops dead. Panic sets in. No one can make sense of what's going on or how to get home. A knock at the back door breaks the silence. A delivery girl begs to come in, claiming she narrowly survived by hiding under a plastic sheet. This gives the group hope. They suit Juan in waterproof gear and a gas mask, preparing him to brave the deadly snow. He steps outside, and, to their relief, the gear protects him. Elsewhere, Juan's ex-wife and daughter are also caught in the chaos. A car crashes through their building's glass doors during a heated meeting. Juan trudges through a lifeless city. At one point, he hears whistling. It's a powerline worker stranded mid-task when the disaster began. Morning arrives, but the snowfall persists. Ana makes tea to lift spirits, but water is a growing concern. No one trusts the tap water, but bottled supplies are dwindling. They must wait for Juan's return to get more, using his protective gear. Juan hears the whistle again and spots someone, but the man flees in fear. Back at the house, the group boards up windows, worried looters will come. Juan follows a railway line and finds a derailed train surrounded by corpses. But one car has survivors. With no way to help, Juan gives them water and promises to return. The outage cuts off gas too. The house begins to freeze. Alfredo builds a makeshift breathing device to reach the police station and find masks. Juan finally reaches his ex-wife's apartment, finding survivors deep in prayer. There, he meets a stranger. Elena says she sent him. But their daughter, Clara, is missing. They kick out the neighbors to talk, but the neighbors are more curious about Juan's survival trick than his family crisis. Their leader, Charlie, hears about Juan and checks the apartments, finding another neighbor dead. Juan and Elena argue, but Juan promises to find Clara and heads to get the friend's address from her school. The neighbors crowd around, demanding his gas mask. To protect himself, Juan pulls a gun. Chaos erupts. No one helps them. The couple flees, barricading themselves in an empty apartment. Juan gives Elena his gear and tells her to find Clara while he holds off the mob. As Elena escapes, the crowd storms the apartment. Juan covers his head with a plastic bag, smashes the window, and escapes. But he can't breathe for long. He collapses. But just as he's losing consciousness, friends arrive with masks and a car, saving him. As they drive to safety, fiery objects streak through the sky, unnoticed. Back at the house, Juan wants the car to continue searching for Clara, but Alfredo refuses. It's too risky. They spot a masked figure following tire tracks to their garage. The man is Benito, a hardware store owner. He says another camp nearby needs help. Alfredo refuses, but while he argues, someone steals the car, only to crash it while distracted by flaming meteors. Juan and Elena set out again to find Clara. As a blizzard kicks in, they look for a new car. They spot one, but looters arrive, forcing them to hide. They narrowly escape, but the city grows more dangerous. Juan asks Elena to search the secretary's office for Clara's friend's address. The delivery girl blames herself for surviving instead of her brother. To distract her, Alfredo gives her lookout duty and goes on a supply run. Juan finds a functioning vehicle and heads to pick up Elena from the school. She hears something strange and investigates, finding a boy locked in a bathroom by bullies. Juan explains the situation bluntly. The boy, Pablo, runs but eventually understands after seeing his friends' corpses. Alfredo realizes they need to reinforce the garage before storing food. At a fire station, they run into Benito again. He offers a chance to join a citywide survival plan, but only if they cooperate. Juan and Elena reach the address Pablo gave, his own home. His entire family is dead. Ana convinces Alfredo that working together with others is their only hope. Finally, news comes in from Argentina. The toxic snowfall isn't isolated. It's blanketing the whole continent. Elena takes Pablo with her, but the boy suddenly develops a high fever. One rushes both of them to a nearby pharmacy, hoping to find medication and save the boy. Just as they begin searching, a pregnant woman appears, begging for help. Despite the husband's protests, Elena lets her in, an act of kindness that quickly backfires. The woman was a decoy. Moments later, a gang of looters floods the pharmacy. They rob the place, steal Juan's car keys, and trap him and Elena inside a storage room. After the looters flee, Juan calls out to Pablo to unlock the door. Meanwhile, Alfredo climbs the rooftop to reorient their antenna and try to get a signal. But when he checks the compass, nothing aligns. All navigational tools have failed. Juan, Elena, and Pablo flee the ruined pharmacy and continue searching for Clara. They spot an abandoned car, but upon seeing a nearby family with a child, Juan chooses not to take it. Their journey brings them back to the train where Juan had once seen survivors, but now it's empty. Only a cryptic message remains scrawled across the window. Juan takes the group back to Alfredo's house, hoping to treat Pablo and regroup. There, he finds out that his friends are preparing to leave the city for a remote island. Alfredo reveals shocking news. The Earth's magnetic field is gone. He believes this could mean the end of civilization. Clara, if already gone, might have been spared worse. The two men argue. Their paths are clearly diverging. Elsewhere, a young couple enjoys a quiet moment. The boy steps away to refill gas, but stops at a strange noise. Terror freezes him as something monstrous emerges and kills them both, along with their vehicle. Back at the house, Juan's friends continue their escape plans, indifferent to his personal mission. Elena, however, decides to help. She recalls an old phone book in the trash. They might use it to find Clara's friend's address. Alfredo heads to the supermarket for supplies. He radios Eninga and finds out Juan is gone again, continuing the search. Feeling guilty, Alfredo chooses loyalty over survival. He goes after Juan, vowing not to let a lifelong friendship crumble over falling snow. As they drive, Alfredo explains his desire to flee. If the magnetic poles are gone, maybe an island is their best hope. Then, they stumble upon something chilling. A pile of cars abandoned beneath a bridge. They get out to investigate, but are interrupted by military vehicles blocking the way. Soldiers shout at them to vacate the restricted zone. One insists on staying to uncover the truth. They follow the military convoy discreetly. Alfredo suggests approaching the soldiers, but the moment they're spotted, gunfire erupts. As they attempt to escape, something far more terrifying appears. Strange, enormous insect-like creatures crawl over the bridge. Their car flips during the escape, crashing onto its roof. The creatures begin attacking soldiers and chase after the two men. Juan and Alfredo manage to find shelter and catch their breath. Juan decides to scout the area and get a sense of their position. They come across a rifle left behind by a fallen soldier. But when they see one of the creatures cocooning a human, they realize firepower won't be enough. Juan fires, killing one of the bugs, but dozens more appear in response. Suddenly, a masked figure waves them over, offering help. Molotov cocktails are hurled at the creatures, buying them time. They're led into an old church, but the insects follow. The rescuers remove their masks. Two young men, Corgo and Mickey. They guide Juan and Alfredo to a hidden survival camp within the church. A nun leads them to the rooftop, where they witness flaming meteors falling from the sky. These fireballs seem to be summoning the alien insects. Realizing they're amid an invasion, Alfredo panics and tries to flee to his wife. The nun blocks his exit. Opening the door would endanger everyone. Night descends. No one dares to sleep. Juan fears he may never find Clara. While everyone sleeps, Juan sneaks out for a look. He's horrified. Swarms of bugs now fill the streets. Knowing the church won't hold, he returns and urges the group to evacuate. They prepare makeshift protective suits to shield themselves as they flee. One elderly man refuses to leave his frail wife. Under cover of night, the group slips into the streets. Their first stop is an overturned bus. While most hide inside, others discover a tunnel hidden in a nearby wall. A baby begins crying, drawing the creatures toward the bus. Suddenly, the man who stayed behind rings the church bell, luring the bugs away. As the others flee through the tunnel, the couple lights a final cigarette and detonates explosives, taking the monsters with them. Juan and the group find a working truck. As everyone climbs into the back, Juan fires at the pursuing insects. Just in time, he jumps aboard, watching the flaming church disappear in the distance. At last, Juan and Alfredo reach the city center. They bid farewell to their new friends and race home. Waiting for them, at long last, is good news. To Juan's surprise, Clara has already reunited with her family by the time they arrive. In the garage, a group of unfamiliar people appears. One man among them proposes a trade to Alfredo, a motorhome in exchange for taking over his home and garage. Juan and Elena agree to join the island-bound convoy. As Juan carries Clara into the RV, Alfredo notices the clothing she's wearing and grows uneasy. It's the same outfit she wore the last time he saw her, on his boat. Hopes of sailing to safety quickly fade when they reach the shore. The water has receded far beyond reach, forcing the group to regroup elsewhere. They find shelter in a partially intact shopping mall. There, Juan meets some familiar faces from the church who warmly invite them to stay. Just as things start to settle, Clara unexpectedly collapses into a seizure. The episode alarms Juan. She's never experienced anything like this, and he fears it may be related to the injury on her head. Meanwhile, Alfredo discovers evidence that confirms Clara had indeed been on his boat, yet she has no memory of it. The next morning, excited voices draw Juan outside. The snowfall has ceased, the sky is clear, and people can now breathe without protective gear. But Lucas, one of Alfredo's friends, is missing. While searching for him, chaos erupts. Armed assailants attack them all. Juan steps forward, confronting the gunmen alone. He eliminates them, saving his friends. Lucas returns, escorted by military personnel. He's vague about how he found them, but Juan decides to take his story at face value. They hand over one of the wounded gunmen to the soldiers. As the others depart with the military, the group notices that the river still has water, reviving their hope of reaching the island by another route. However, danger still lurks. Insects remain scattered throughout the city, though not everyone is at risk. Juan and the others are taken to a secure military base, where they begin combat training to eventually reclaim the city. The base commander tasks Alfredo with fixing an old radio, possibly their only link to outside survivors. Juan can't stop thinking about one of the gunmen from the mall, the woman with the pendant. They'd met before, and she hadn't seemed dangerous then. More survivors arrive at the base. Alfredo spots his old neighbor Roberto and rushes over, hoping for news. Roberto, acting strangely, says no one else from their neighborhood made it. Juan still wants to pursue the island plan, but the others feel safer staying at the base. Later that night, two strangers pull Juan aside. They want him to convince Alfredo to leave the base and help them hijack a train they believe can aid the military effort. The following day, they succeed in commandeering a locomotive. They drive it straight into a wall of debris near the bug nest, breaking through and scattering both cars and insects. The mission is a success, but the railway is too damaged to continue by train. The team continues the final stretch on foot. They come across an abandoned military aircraft, empty, with no bodies or bugs in sight. It's eerily quiet. Then, an unsettling sight, a crowd of humans behaving strangely. They're stiff, uniform in motion, almost robotic. Thanks to the radio Alfredo repaired, contact is made with other survivor zones, offering a glimmer of hope. But when Juan and Alfredo ascend to the roof, they see a strange blue glow far in the distance, ominous and unnatural. Juan urges the commander to send scouts, but the request is denied. It's too risky, especially since the last team hasn't returned. To ease the tension, Juan and his friends play cards, reminiscing about calmer times. But the peace shatters when Lucas, agitated by losing, suddenly stabs his closest friend. As Alfredo tends to the wounded, Juan chases Lucas, following him up to the rooftop. Lucas rants incoherently, then leaps to his death. His body disappears into the dark. Almost instantly, a wave of armed zombie-like figures descends on the base. Juan and Alfredo flee, dragging their injured friend, and barely jumping onto the train in time. Midway through their escape, Juan leaps off to find the rest of their scattered group. He and his partner sneak through the abandoned streets, moving toward the sound of distant gunfire. They stumble upon a facility nearly identical to their original base. But here, humans appear to be collaborating with the insect creatures. Thousands march in unison under alien control, following a glowing, blue-hued entity that seems to command them. At the front of the formation is Clara, now part of the enemy's ranks. The true threat has finally revealed itself. El Eternauta 2025 is a gripping sci-fi series set in a frozen, invaded Buenos Aires, blending action with political themes. It's a powerful tale of survival, resistance, and human solidarity in the face of alien terror. In the final episodes, Juan Salvo fully embraces his role as El Eternauta, a lone traveler through space and time. After leading the resistance against the alien invaders, the Elos, he becomes separated from his family during a chaotic escape. In a tragic twist, he's caught in a temporal vortex caused by alien technology, and is forced to wander alternate realities in search of his loved ones. The ending is both emotional and symbolic. Juan survives, but he's condemned to eternal wandering, representing the countless victims of dictatorship and war who had disappeared, never seen again, yet never forgotten.